Peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep, shalom. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Assalamu Allah to the true and living gods and goddesses on earth. I'm your brother in the struggle, Brother Minister Allah, and today we're going to cover some of the messenger's teachings on the Muslim program. We're going to reflect on some divine wisdom. Since in a few days it's going to be July 4th, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1973, he published his phenomenal tome or holy book titled The Fall of America, in which he explained that Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever, actually established the Nation of Islam 93 years ago on a Friday Jumu'ah on July 4th, 1930, in the wilderness of North America. And he declared that we were a black, proud, independent, and original people, that we were actually a nation and a nation. Now, let me give a little brief clarity about our theological position on why we use the term Asiatics. Short version. It's real popular for everyone to think about what they call out of Africa. But when you do an analysis on that, you find that the actual name Africa, the 12 million square miles of that continent in 2023, was not like that at different periods of time. So that name changed countless times through history. Now, I mean, the borders changed. Now, I mean, we realize and recognize and respect and love ancient Kemet or Black Egypt, but we can't ignore, like, long before all that, we was already building pyramids down Nubia or in the Sudan. I mean, we was building in ancient Kush or Ethiopia. We was building all the way down. We had Stonehenges. We had ancient calendars older than the European Stonehenges in ancient Azania or South Africa, long before recorded history. And that is just the tip of the iceberg, if you will. Because in reality, in our humble but respectful but scientifically and spiritually sound position, Master Fard Muhammad the Messenger considers us to be world citizens or Asiatics. So basically what we're saying is it's a lot of truth and everyone on earth owing their origins to the black man, woman, and child, black civilizations, art, science, agriculture, technology, whatever. It's all there. Now, I mean, you look at the pulley, the lever, the incline, decline. When you look at the contraptions the Egyptians was using, that's the basic foundation for every form of machinery on the face of the planet Earth in 2023. Your car, your rockets, everything uses those basic elements, if you will. However, a lot of people don't look deep enough, if you will, because if you look deeper, you'll realize, wait a minute, we cannot begin our civilization at a river. Now, I mean, the Nile River is the longest river in the world, 4,690 miles long and 1 3/8 miles wide, according to Master Fard Muhammad. And our lessons, 99 actual facts. We was taught that back in 1933. However, the Nile River wasn't the longest river 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 years in the past. It didn't even exist yet. You know what I'm saying? Rivers change. Everything in the universe changes. Now, I mean, the people of ancient Sumer, the so-called Anunnaki, no, they were not aliens. They were black people. 100% black people. but they had some outlandish technology. They were absolutely gods and goddesses as far as their culture and their spiritual sciences was concerned. And this is why people get spooky with all this stuff, because they like, there's no way in the world human beings could have built these pyramids and these ancient cities and things of that nature there. And they just get so spooky and ignorant, actually so racist and prejudiced with it. Because what they're actually saying is that black people's too dumb to build them kind of civilizations. Brown people, too dumb to build those kind of civilizations. Yellow people, too dumb to build those kind of civilizations. Red people, too dumb to build those kind of civilizations. But somehow, some way, we just seem to accept the wisdom of Plato and the Greeks and Zeus and the Romans and the Americans. You know, it's like, if I came to the United States and saw a tall building with a smokestack, and they had steps and they had windows, would it be scientifically accurate of me to conclude, oh, they must have came from France, because the people in France have tall buildings and skyscrapers and smokestacks and windows, and they got steps on their buildings. Therefore, they must have had migrated over here and built these cities in New York or Philadelphia or Atlanta or Los Angeles or Miami or what have you in the wilderness of North America. It would be an absurd idea to us. That'd be a huge assumption we would be making, because human nature being what it is, of course, time repeats. Of course, human beings intuitively and instinctively going to make similar things. If I see a honeycomb or a spider web in China, I'm not going to say, oh, this is just like the spider web I seen in America. Therefore, the Americans must have migrated to China in antiquity and taught them how to build spider webs. The spider don't need a book. They don't need a college degree. The beaver doesn't have to be taught how to build a dam. It intuitively knows how to do certain things. Human beings instinctively, intuitively know how to do certain things. If you go on the beach and you want to build, take some, you're in the Sahara Desert, you're in the Egyptian desert, whatever, take some sand in Atlantic City and you pick it up. And you take some sand in Australia and you pick it up. And you take some sand in Egypt and you pick it up. You take some sand in Saudi Arabia, in the Arabian Desert, 2,200 miles, and you pick it up and drop it. All of the sand around the world will build a pyramid, because that's just the laws of physics. Common sense be like, yo, you know what I mean? My son building with his Lego blocks, he's going to build upwards. It's going to be big at the base and small at the top. That's just intuitive information. A spider is going to spin his web according to efficiency. You see, it's like the bee's going to build their hive according to efficiency. It's not that the African killer bees is going to migrate to the United States and teach North American honeycomb bees how to build their honeycombs. It's just that they're going to build something similar, usually inferior, but something similar to that culture. And so it is with our cultures. I remember, I think it was in the 7 speeches by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he was breaking down something. Basically, he was saying that culture is the outgrowth of knowledge at a particular time in history. Now, I mean, as time moves on, cultures change. Now, I mean, like if we're living in the year 1858, let's say we live in the year 1823, ain't nobody running around talking about the internet. In our words, our lexicon, the word iPhone is, you know what I mean? It's like, we don't talk like that. Not yet. You know what I mean? You know, but if we're living in Philadelphia and we had a word fruit and they had a word fruit in California and they had a word fruit in Miami, okay, we have a similar culture. They'd be like, oh, y'all got fruits in Florida. Oh, y'all got fruits in California. Oh, y'all got fruits in Philadelphia. Y'all got fruits in New York. But it's not the same fruit, family. Like if they have a word for orange, ain't no oranges in Philadelphia. Ain't no coconuts in New York. Ain't no mangoes growing in Chicago. But they may grow other things. You come to Pennsylvania, they may grow apples, they may grow pears, and they may grow these things in other places, similar type things. So these cultures overlap. This is the natural progression of human beings, okay? And that is not to say that Black people don't travel, because we travel all over the planet Earth. We actually developed every culture on the face of the planet Earth. But when you look at the picture of Master Fard Muhammad, we're talking about the Nation of Islam's leader. The Nation of Islam's leader, think about this, is from an integrated couple. He's from a pure Black father and a pure white mother. His father was a Muslim. His mother was a Jew. His father is from Arabia. His mom is from Russia. Think about that. That product produced the supreme law of God who came to the person of Master Fard Muhammad. That polarity, that dichotomy, that contradiction is how the universe actually operates with the laws of polarity. Opposites attract, like repels. Positive, negative. Black, white. Life, death. Poor, rich. Righteous, wicked. God, devil, heaven, hell. We thinking it's two separate things and we hopping on toe to toe, not realizing we're talking about the same thing, just in different dimensions, at different laws of vibration. And this is why the ancient Kabbalion, this is why our ancestors told us, like, listen, spooky people, there's no such thing as hot water or cold water. Ice is steam. In its lowest vibration, the atoms of hydrogen and oxygen, when they vibrate real slow, it forms solid material, ice. You could knock somebody in the head with that. But if you take the same piece of ice and you heat it up in a pot on your stove, it'll turn into liquid and it'll boil you at 212 degrees. But if you take it past 212 degrees, something strange happens. The physical becomes immaterial. The seen becomes unseen. The water in the pot turns into steam and it rises and it disappears right in front of your very eyes. And if you turn the heat all the way up in your house in the wintertime and it's cold outside and you lift the shade up on your window, you'll see that contradiction, that polarity, that dichotomy produces physical water that'll run down your window. You could take a deck of cards, take a card, and you scrape that water, and you could put it in a little Dixie cup and literally fill a cup up with water that's liquid, and you could physically drink it. I don't recommend it, but you if you wanted to, you could physically drink. You could take that cup of water and freeze it, and it'll come out as an ice cube. You could take that little Dixie cup of water and put it in the pot and turn the stove on and boil it, and it'll turn into steam and disappear inside your house. That's not magic. That's mathematics. That's universal law. There is nothing spooky in our universe. There is no miracles. There's only mathematical wonders. We just don't understand certain phenomena. Okay? So when we hear things such as what the Muslims want, we got to understand not just what the messenger said and what the messenger did, but what the messenger didn't say, what the messenger didn't do. We can't look at a quote. We got to look at the whole spectrum of his teachings. This is why we study the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He didn't say, leave my quotes as they are. He said, leave my teachings as it is. Why? Because he warned us. He said, don't take what I say hook, line, and sinker. See, people, they'll hear the message say something and don't know what he said after that in the future. It might be 4 years later, 10 years later. The Holy Quran teaches how certain laws, be like, okay, well, this was the law back then. Like they said, thou shalt not drink. Then they say, well, maybe under certain circumstances you can drink. Then, no, you shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be at prayer drunk with a befogged mind. It's a balance here. The message is like the stricter laws of Islam. You know what I mean? No drinking, wine, whiskey, beer, ale, alcohol, other intoxicants. Then Hadith to live, the messenger told, he said, it's not a sin to drink a little red wine. You know what I mean? It's just a sin, the way y'all use it. Y'all want to get all pissy drunk and all that crap. That's what I'm talking about. So it's a science that takes people out of spiritual sciences and places them smack dab in the realm of organized religion. And this is what you see going on today with Islam, Buddhism, Taoism, Christianity, Catholicism, atheism, whatever. You know what I mean? People get caught up on the messenger and not the message. Their focus will be on Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Father-in-law, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, Silas Muhammad. And they forget about themselves. They forget they be like, Black man, know what I mean? We was building pyramids, this, that, and you know how many the Great Pyramid of Giza weighs 14 billion pounds and consists of 2,800,000 blocks. Each block weighing an average of 2.5 tons or 5,000 pounds. It is 481 to 764 feet high. It covers 13 acres. The original name was Kemet. You know what I mean? And it's like, my brother, slow down, pump your brakes. It's 2023. Obviously, you know a lot about ancient history. You like, man, our ancestors, we come from people that built Timbuktu, know what I mean? We built the pyramids, this, that. And I'm like, I get it. But right now, I just got this text on my phone from Verizon. I got to pay $180 for this bill. Can I borrow $200 real quick? I'm effed up right now, bro. You know what I mean? Wait a minute, God. Let me get this straight. You can build pyramids. You can build the mother plane. But you ain't take time to build your credit. You don't take time to build a business. You didn't build an economic system to take care of your woman, yourself, your children, your family, your mama, your papa, your grandkids. You're getting spooky, brother. Getting spooky, sister. So the messenger's message in this age of mess is still relevant. It's just that we're trapped, not all of us, I would say most of us, are trapped in organized religion. And this is why you see me constantly like using the science of an iconoclast. I destroy that mystery god, those fake images. I don't care if they black, white, candy stripe. I get you to look at you. You see? Because I know that Messiah complex that our people have. You know what I mean? It's really sad. You know what I mean? And what happens is they be like, all praises due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All praises due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Teach their holy apostle. Teach. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad died. Oh, I'm dead. Black man God, white man the devil. Messenger gone. Black man really ain't God. White man ain't the devil. He's my brother. It's like, what the heck happened? Because in your brain, you had all this knowledge. You had all this wisdom. But you ain't get the understanding. You didn't get the principal thing. You see what I'm saying? So when we read Message to the Black Man, the Making of the Devil, you know what I mean? And we see how Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabazz, you know what I mean? How the government came in and took care of Dr. Yaqub and his people for a couple of decades on the island of Patmos or Pelan, which is an isle out in the GNC, 25 miles of circumference. We see that in the Muslim program, with the Muslims, in fact, I'm going to take this Muslim program, and it's the exact same Muslim program. It's just reprinted in book form in Message to the Black Man. Being as though I wear glasses, I wear goggles. I think it'll be easy for me to read it from the paper. Now, I mean, when you read your Bible, you see that Paul needed glasses. He was kind of barring there, you know what I mean? That, I didn't used to wear glasses. I used to read crystal clear 2020. But being in the belly of the beast nonstop, 30 years. See, I'm talking old school belly of the beast prison stuff. They used to turn the lights off at 10 o'clock at night. We ain't had a fancy lights like nowadays. They had them old fashioned lights. So there's, I was a teenager. I was a juvenile. So that thing was, you don't turn your lights on. You know how convenient things is today. You turn the light switch on. This is how the devil did us. The devil gave me 3 nails and 2 wires and a light bulb. Now keep in mind, I'm 17. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Somebody explain it to you. Move on. It's like slavery. I'm like, what the I mean? Then, my cousin Kevin Sanders, not me, the Mac, as we used to call him back in the day. And he's my celly. And my other cousin, Salam, Darnell X Sanders, his brother, we all together. Well, no, my cousin Salam, he's on another block. We on the North Philly block. We on H block. He's on what's that? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He's on G block. Now my cousin Salam, the police shot him in the neck. So I'm really just trying to save his life. I'm ready to kill the devil because his neck is all infected and they won't even get him medical care. So we make these devils take him to the hospital. He cool today. Good brother. Now he all right. My other cousin, Kev, he's in a hut with me. He's physically paralyzed. He got a big bullet in his spine, in his lower spine. This is how we grew up. Like when I'm 13, I got a bullet in my ankle at the age of 13. Just to show you the crazy streets of North Philly. So this is the world we're used to. It ain't childhood trauma. It's slavery, suffering, and death for us. So, I nursed my cousin, both of them together. I get Kev, we literally holding his feet, we get him stretching his jaw, cleaning his wounds, got him doing the crunchies. When the smoke cleared, he boxing again because he was a good boxer. He exercising, he FOI, I'm FOI. We moving, we good. He good. He died a couple of years ago, but it wasn't from the bullet wound. No, it's just natural causes, the black man being in the wilderness of North America. But the thing is that we had the photograph of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from an old, where we get that paper from? I think it was an old Muhammad Speaks. Yeah, we had an old Muhammad Speaks picture of the messenger that we put up and just hung up in the hut, put some cardboard on it, some saran wrap plastic or whatever, and taped it up, And the prisoners just had this respect for the messenger. His teachings literally transform you. This is how the Malcolm X's with the S on it was being made. Before Malcolm was in jail, there was a bunch of Malcolm X's in America's prisons. And after Malcolm, there were countless Malcolm X's being formed in the prisons because we studied the divine and the direct teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we didn't know nothing but that. We had nothing but that. And those teachings is literally what saved our lives. So, when I get my little 3 nails and 2 wires and a light bulb, they like, oh, listen, shorty, it's all you do. You take and make a V, you put 1 nail at the bottom, you take the hairbrush and you bang the nail in the wall. Then you put 1 at the top, 1 on the other side. You make a V out of the nails. Then you take 1 wire and wrap it around the bottom nail, and you put the other wire and wrap it around the other nail, and then you sit the light bulb inside the 3 nails. So now the bulb is sitting inside the nails, being held up. It's like that's it. Like the bulb sitting inside this 3-pronged nail. Then you take the 2 wires and you plug it into the socket, and the light bulb comes on. I'm no electrician. I am now, but back then I ain't know nothing about electricity for real. But it worked. I mean, and then they got some, they said, oh man, listen, let me put you down. This is what you do. You take the ink pen and you take the razor, you cut the ink pen off. You take the ink, blow the ink on the bulb. Then you take the toilet paper and smear it all around. Now you got the bulb is blue. You let it dry for 1 day. Then you sit it back in the 3 nails and plug it back in. Now you got a blue light in the joint. You take the sheet, you take a brand new sheet. And back then they used to give us saltpeter to stop your reproduction. You take the saltpeter red Kool-Aid and you put that in a bucket with some hot water and a stinger, some batteries and wire, and you boil it. Then you put the sheet in that and you boil it. And it come out like a red flag of Islam. And you hang that up, put the nails up on the wall, and you put that around the toilet, you know, because men, we need privacy too, you know what I mean? So now you got your privacy, you know what I mean? You got your lights, you know what I mean? You got your little radio, you know, and you're good to go. You know what I mean? You know, so this is the world that we're in, with nothing but lessons and old Muhammad speaks and message to the black man and flag of Islam and fall of America. You know what I mean? It's a dangerous environment. Ain't no minister was coming in there. Now, one minister in Holmesburg that I give respect to, this is back in the early 80s, for those of y'all don't know, was Brother Minister Jeremiah Shabazz of Philadelphia and Brother Minister Eric X. Belly. I mean, them brothers was holding it down in Philadelphia for the teachers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They contrary to popular belief, they were supporting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, know what I mean, and helping rebuild this nation. Know what I mean, but it was a slow grind. Know what I mean, we were slowly building. But part of that struggle was teaching what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. So just as Dr. Yaqub and them wanted the government to subsidize them for at least 2 decades, over 20 years, the messenger wanted the exact same thing. Now, yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court was like, affirmative action, y'all don't need that, this, that, and the other. Affirmative action, we don't really believe in it in some spooky sense. We always believed in doing for self. But these devils owe us. How can they pay reparations to everybody but us? You see? You know, it's like, come on. The Jews got reparations for Germany. The Native American Indians, they got reservations. They got land. They got casinos. You see what I'm saying? When they go to court, they don't go to a white man's court. They go to their own court. They may be sentenced to go up in the mountains where the eagles at and all that kind of stuff. They doing for self. Respect that. Now, I mean, when during the war, when they had the war with Japan on the pond at the time, I mean, they put Japanese Americans in concentration camps, intern camps, but they paid them reparations. Even back in the 90s, President Clinton, when they took and did some slimy stuff to Cuba, when Japan did that thing in Japan during the Japanese-American War, the Japanese Americans that was placed in concentration camps, they received reparations for that. They received just compensation for that. As I said, Bill Clinton, you know, they had a little airplane situation take place with Cubans. America did some slimy stuff, but they paid the Cubans reparations. Why do y'all look at black folks as saying, we don't deserve affirmative actions from the U.S. Supreme Court? They saying, oh, if you're just using race as a basis, this, it's like, wait a minute. It's not that we're just using race as a basis. The reality is historically, like, yo, we was doing that, you know, what y'all call the Library of Alexandria. Yeah, we was doing that Timbuktu stuff. We was living amongst the Tigris and Euphrates rivers and the Nile Valley civilization. We was good. We was chilling. We out West Africa doing our thing. Know what I mean? But y'all the ones that was like, we're going to kidnap them, rape, rob, and murder them, lynch them, enslave them, use Jim Crow laws and give them a miseducation, make it illegal to even teach these so-called Negroes to read and things of that nature there. So reparations is like the least you can do. I mean, like, come on. Affirmative action is like a Band-Aid on a stab wound. Y'all don't even want to say, oops, oh, my bad, we sorry, dad. I mean, y'all on the tip like, nah, we taking the crumbs back. Like, for real, what does that mean? I'm no prophet. I don't believe in prophecies. But I believe in sociology. I believe in common sense. I believe in mathematics, human nature, cause and effects, actions and reactions. You're looking at it like, oh, y'all should be happy in America. Y'all making like $2 trillion a year. Let me get this straight. All of the black people in the wilderness of North America in 2023 is making a little over $2 trillion. That means that one out of millions of companies like Apple made $3 trillion last year. Apple's worth $3 trillion. One company made more money than all the black people you ever seen in the wilderness of North America combined. That's how much money Apple made. We ain't got no darn money for real. I mean, we would have more economic independence and political power if we was united, but you're using Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabazz's law of divide and conquer to keep our people divided and conquered. You see? So the devil's the devil regardless of place or time. Can you reform the devil? Emphatically no. You spooky, cowardly leaders, so-called, that even conceive the idea is going to get our people killed. And you fake wannabe rich black folks, wanting to be 10%ers, don't understand the nature of the devil. Let me give you a little peep into the future, if you will. Saudi Arabia in the 30s, the Saud family, whatever, they had this oil under their feet and all that, and they wound up using that around the world. And then, America, of course, became dependent on oil. And basically, they became a wealthy and prosperous nation using that oil. That's what's going on right now with data. You got 1 billion Chinese with artificial intelligence. They going to get paid with this AI stuff. America just is not, America don't have that type of huge population. America has the technological information because they steal stuff from all over the planet, but they just can't, they're not going to be able to compete with China in like 10 years from now. I mean, but what China underestimates is the nature of the devil. See, the nature of the devil is like this. People like Trump and them is crazy. Listen, Trump and them is real sane for real. You got to understand, when you hear Trump talking about he didn't lose the election, that's a mentality. He thinks like a god. These devils is on the tip like, we don't lose. Period. see, that's hard for righteous people to understand, because the message saying message of black. We got a heart of gold. We got a heart of forgiveness and mercy, and let's just forget and move on and all that kind of. Them devils don't think like that. Them devils on the tip like, man, before we let China take over this planet, we're willing to die. They're willing to spark World War III before they let anybody, not China, anyone on earth surpass them. It's not happening. It's ultimately, no matter what the devil do, he's going to lose in the end. So my thing is, I know we already won before they was made, but I want you to understand the nature of that devil. I mean, now, black people in the wilderness of North America has to understand the scientific nature of a thing. You know what I mean? It's like dive in the ocean. The piranha fish just has a different nature than a goldfish. You got 100,000 goldfish. You got 1,000 piranha. The 1,000 piranha will keep preying upon these goldfish until they annihilate them. It's not that they hate the gold. It's just something in their nature that's just a devil in the water. They cannot change their nature. They're not going to become vegetarians. It's not happening. I mean, it's just not in your lifetime. Now, I mean, it's like in the jungle. It's like the lion is not going to sing kumbaya with the gazelles and the zebras and all that. He's going to do what lions do. I mean, don't take it personal. It's just the nature of a lion. Now, I mean, you know, it's like the spider is going to spin its web, and when it's going to suck that insect dry. Now, I mean, you know, it's just that chicken hawk, just something about it. It's not going to say, I'm a chicken hawk, you're a chicken, God made us all birds, let's get together and love each other and sing kumbaya. No, the chicken hawk is going to murder the chicken. That's just the nature of a chicken hawk, and that's just the nature of a chicken. The devil is going to be the devil regardless of place or time. And that does not mean, and this is what confuses some people, that doesn't mean you don't have some white people that are sincerely and honestly trying to live a good life, a peaceful life, a respectful life, a life of freedom, justice, and equality. It's a whole bunch of them. But that doesn't change institutionalized racism. That does not change the nature of the devil. That does not mean that there are black gods that are extremely more wicked than the Ku Klux Klan. There are black men that you better run from faster than you better run from the Aryan Nation. See what I mean? So it's the thing with God is not a respecter of persons. So we get spooky when we deal with the universal order of things. So we have to go back to basics, go back to the basic teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because in there, properly analyzed and utilized is the solution to all of our problems. Remember, Dr. Yaqub and them wanted the government to take care of them for 20 to 25 years. You know what I mean? Let's look at what the messenger wanted and what the Muslims want. I'm going to read to you points number 1 to 4, okay, of what the Muslims want. Quote, this is the question asked most frequently by both the whites and the blacks. The answer to this question I should state as simply as possible. 1, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. We want justice. Equal justice under the law. See, notice the messenger is not a terrorist. The messenger is not a revolutionary in the definitive sense of the word. I mean, the messenger thing is, in Message to the Black Man in America in 1965, he put it like this. If you think you could beat America with a few brickbats, a few homemade bombs, and a few handguns, you are as wrong as the distances from the east to the west. The solution to our people's problem is divine. This is what a lot of people just don't get. You're not manufacturing no guns. You're not manufacturing no tanks. You might come on YouTube shooting a gun. You may have an AK-47, an M11, an AR-15, a Glock 40. Everything you got in your hand was made, manufactured, and patented by some devil. Every cold knife you got, you don't know how to make steel. You don't have no chems to heat up no iron and mix it with carbon and make and forge steel. You don't. That's just the truth. That's accept the reality of where you at. Now, that don't mean that we turn the cheek and just be like, oh, pray to the sky, Jesus, come save us. No, God helps those who help themselves. Now, I mean, the first law of nature is self-preservation. The creative Adam gives nature whatever it needs to survive, if it realizes it. Dive in the ocean. Crabs got claws. Snakes got fangs. Birds got claws or talons. Everything in nature has a gun, a knife, some type of way to defend itself, to protect itself. Even if it's your human brain, your common sense, your ability to adapt, you see, your ability to survive, to do what you have to do. Ain't no mystery God is going to come give you no instructions and orders on what you're going to have to do for self, for real. Okay. So the messenger teaches us in point number 2, we want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. You see, we don't care if you're a Muslim or a Christian. We want you, if you're it's different in the Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam is a nation in a nation. If I went to Catholic school, they'd be like, yo, we're a Catholic school. I mean, if I went to a Jewish school, they'd be like, we don't eat ham sandwiches in this school. Well, I want my daughter to eat a ham sandwich. She can eat a ham sandwich, just not in here. Because we're kosher Orthodox Jews and we are a private school. We have our own thing. We don't do that. I respect that. I ain't got no problem with that. I mean, I'm not mad if I go to Atlantic City and I see 800 seagulls flying around and here come a black crow trying to build a nest next door. They like, yo, get your ass out of here, nigga. Them white seagulls gonna run that black crow out of there because by nature it's just some birds can integrate, but most birds can't. Some cats or felines can integrate, but most can't. Most dogs can integrate, but most can't. Black ants and red ants are ants, but they like, yo, we go to war when you trying to build a colony in our colony. You let me get this straight. This red ant want my black ant wife. Not happening. It's not happening. Not in nature. I mean, it's not being prejudiced. It's something in their nature. Now, I mean, it's not that God didn't make marine creatures. It's just something in the shark that says, my son is not going to marry a tuna. It's just not happening. I mean, it's like, nah, they don't go down like that, son. I mean, but I love her. Yeah, all right. You know what I mean? You know, so the first law of nature is self-preservation. And being politically correct, we can't even talk the truth today. It's like you can't use the Bible. I'm talking about the real Bible. I ain't talking about no fancy interpretation or the Black Power interpretation. I'm not talking about the truth of the Bible from a Black Hebrew. I'm saying just the regular old 1611 evil ass King James translation of the Bible. You can't teach that Bible in this day and time. You better be politically correct. That shut your church right down. I mean, you be like, oh, Muslim, I fear no one but Allah. Yeah. Say the drama for those that don't know. I mean, your spooky behind is not holding no kutbahs and holding no Jumars teaching Islam as taught by the Holy Quran, period. You might mix it with politics, spookism, hadiths, sayings, being politically correct. You're not going to teach what the Quran teach about jihad, the struggle. Oh, the Quran, jihad just means struggling within yourself. Stop lying. I mean, our people are so spooky. I mean, when you read about that God of the Hebrews, when you read about, see, this is one of the things they try to, I'm going to just give you a little example of how they spook stuff all up. In the Bible, when Jesus get captured by the police, we call them Roman soldiers, whatever. Now, I mean, you know, somebody snitched on them. They call him Judas, whatever, sold him out for 30 pieces of silver. To some people that we know today as Jews, whatever. Oh, you're being anti-Semitic. I'm just talking about the Bible right now. I mean, now, one of the unique things is It says that when they took Jesus, Peter pulled out a sword and cut the soldier's ear off. Jesus had to heal it. And people are like, oh, it's a miracle. Jesus healed his ear. Back up. Peter cut his ear off. Why wasn't Peter turning the cheek? Why was Peter strapped? The Bible says that it was the other disciple. He ran away butterball naked. What? There was a disciple. Read your Gospels. This stuff is literally in the New Testament. There's a disciple with Jesus. When they come and arrest Jesus, one of the disciples ran away with no clothes on. You have to understand this. I think you got to go back to like the book of Luke. Read the doctor. Read it. Read the scriptures carefully. The scriptures explain that Jesus told, listen, in the past I told y'all, love your enemies and, yeah, I mean, do the good to those that spitefully do you wrong, turn the cheek, all that spooky stuff. I'm changing that crap. I mean, Jesus seen something. When he seen these government, he learned how to tune in on these jokers. And he was like, listen, now I'm telling y'all this. Go and sell everything y'all got and strap up. I mean, Jesus told them to go get some guns. They called them swords back then, the S word, the secret word, armor leg, armor head. Now, I mean, Jesus talked about some physical sword. He told disciples, yo, go sell y'all shoes, y'all sandals, y'all cloaks, your clothes you got on, and get some, strap up. It's great to get crazy up in this country, in this government. You know what I mean? And the disciples came back and they like, oh, you know, we poor righteous teachers, we 5%. We couldn't get a lot of swords, but you know what I mean, we got these. He's like, all right, that's enough. So Peter is carrying a sword because Jesus taught his disciples to strap up. First, he taught them go unarmed, turn the cheek, and all that. It's the same thing in the Nation of Islam. 99.99.99.99% of the ministry spooks up the FOI and MGT and lie to them, misinterpret to them, mistranslates to them, overlooks for them, ignores the original, raw, direct teachers of Elijah Muhammad. Master Farmer Muhammad Elijah Muhammad put it like this. We don't walk around with no guns to cause no trouble with. But there is an exception that the messenger gave that you don't hear these brothers and ministers, captains, and secretaries telling you. The messenger told us this. And you'll find it. You contact secretaries, Minister Society, History of the Nation of Islam. You'll see the interview with the Jew. The messenger spells it out for him. He said, now, as far as having a gun in your home to protect your family with, the FOI can have guns in their home to protect their families with, but I don't want them walking around with no guns, lest they be charged with starting trouble. That's the Second Amendment, as they call it. But you have brothers and sisters that got the white wolves, the Aryan Nation, the skinheads, the Ku Klux. Got all these people in all these little counties all over America. We got militias. We're going to kill these Negroes first chance we get. And they on the tip like, oh, we don't need nothing. We're going to just pray to the mother plane and the Elijah Muhammad is going to come beam down and protect us. So we ain't got. You're going to see them get slaughtered. You're going to see FOIs and MGTs getting slaughtered. Now stop right there. We're not the only ones the devil's going to be coming at. They're going to randomly be coming at our people. And we're going to be so unprepared. We ain't going to have cans of beans. We're not going to have firewood. We're not going to know how to deliver babies, how to do first aid, how to build a log cabin, a straw hut, how to fish, how to hunt. It's just going to be crazy. It's just going to be crazy in the wilderness of North America because of the misinterpretation, misunderstanding, mistransliteration, and spookism that's being taught in the name of the Lord God who came to person Master Farmer Muhammad and his messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. For me, the biggest, most deadliest, most ignorant lie on the reality of the messenger teachings is there is a God outside of you, or there's a law is in you. I don't know where these spooky 10% get this. Not, I know where they got it from. I know why they teach it. I understand where the oil money at. I understand where the fiat money, the promissory notes. Now, I mean, I understand how, you know, in order to get the bills paid, I mean, they'll compromise the truth. But I want you to understand that as our people keep hustling, keep grinding. Now, I mean, I'm talking our wealthy entertainers, sports figures, the hip hop community, the hustlers in the street. These devils getting jealous. These devils peeping. It's like, oh, we over here, we can't even feed our babies. These Negroes, I'm saying the word Negroes being politically correct, they getting paper. We got to stop this. They get jealous. They get envious. Now, envy and jealousy don't have a facial expression. I mean, like, you know, they don't literally turn green, but it's like, you know, an envious person will kill you, not so that they can get what you got, but just so that you won't have what you have. They be like, oh, what that Negro, you know what I mean? What he got a nice house for? How he get a car? How he gets money? How he paying his bills? He ain't working. I mean, what he doing? That envy and that jealousy is going to drive him mad. And if you are so righteous, so spooky, thinking you're holier than thou, it's going to get crazy for you and your family. Know what I mean? So the messenger, when it came to reparations, you know, his thing is like, he laid out a program for us, the Muslim program. So let me reread part 1 and 2 and let's go on from there. This is the question asked most frequently by both the whites and the blacks. The answers to this question I shall state as simply as possible. 1, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. See, the messenger don't teach hate. His thing's like, nah, we don't want justice for black people. We want justice for poor white people living in trailer parks. See, they getting kicked over by the government too. See, there's forces, the 10%, the rich, the corporations, they need us fighting and arguing and killing each other. They need religious people arguing with each other. They want Christians arguing with Muslims and Muslims arguing with the atheists and the straight arguing with the gays and the blacks arguing with the whites and the poor arguing with the rich and the young arguing with the old, because that makes us think that we need someone outside of self to govern self. That's Yaqub's law. That's the law. That's how they rule the world. You come in and you cast an evil suggestion. You whisper, you know that nigga. What? Oh my God! I heard this, and now the gossip spreading all around. Now everybody arguing, fighting. I don't mess with her. I don't mess with him. I don't, you know what I mean? And the devil laughing like, what are these stupid, blind, deaf, and dumb slaves? And then when things fall apart, the devil come in as the peacemaker, as the UN, the United Nations, know what I mean, as the World Court, as the U.S. Supreme Court, as the government, as the president, as the Congress, as the Senate, as the police commissioners, as the state troopers. They come in and say, okay, you violent criminals, savages, drug addicts, alcoholics, poor people, homeless people, y'all need us to save y'all, to organize y'all. And they come in and rule both sides, be like, we got them all enslaved. The white ones are our slaves. The black ones are our slaves. The young ones are our slaves. The old ones are our slaves. The ones in prison convicted of crimes are our slaves. Now, the people that never been convicted of a crime that's in society, they're our slaves too. This is so reality that this is so real that it seems surreal or unreal. Let's look at number 3. The message said, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in the society with the best in civilized society. Number 4. We want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory. It don't necessarily have to be the state of Pennsylvania, what's Pennsylvania? 45,000 square miles. 300 miles long, 150 miles long, multiplied 45,000 square miles. It don't have to be that big. Germany is like that size. And Germany almost ruled the world. So you don't need a bunch of people or a big place to do big things. But you need big ideas. You need big heart. Okay. So the messenger goes on to say, we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land and that the area must be, it's mandatory language, not should be or might be, must be or shall be, fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years, until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. Since we cannot get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe that our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state or territory of our own. Think about that. We're not talking integration. Nation Islam don't believe in integration. We're not talking segregation. We don't want a new form of slavery. We don't want to leave the plantation and go to the ghettos, the new plantation. We want to control the land we stand upon. We want to grow what we eat, sew what we wear, build where we dwell, and defend what we have. And since America colonized us as well as the world, it is only fair. It is only common sense. It's inevitable that America is going to have to pay reparations to the former slaves in the wilderness of North, Central, South Americas, as well as the islands of the diaspora. It's inevitable. The problem, the ugly problem is going to be when you have racist Democrats that took off their Ku Klux Klan uniforms and took off their blue uniforms and put on red uniforms. And now they're known as Republicans. Their ability to be two-faced, to switch disguises on us and rock us right back to sleep, to let rhetoric and demagogues confuse the issues and divide and conquer the people on both sides of the aisle. I'm talking about white people getting tricked and black people being tricked. They want us to feed into racism, sexism, classism, so that they can continue their agenda. And it's hard for us as a collective to break free from that constant bombardment of tricknology. But praise be to Allah, came the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever. The people are waking up. And at this stage of the struggle, when you see the U.S. Supreme Court, people like Clarence Thomas and the racists on the Supreme Court, you have to keep in mind we did have some people that knew fairness and real justice and that wanted to use the law of the land, the U.S. Constitution, and use decency and fairness and say, oh, what is y'all talking about? Y'all trying to get rid of affirmative action? Is you crazy? That's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, how can black people even be in a position to compete in the wilderness of North America after chattel slavery? Like, for real? I mean, like, how many of our people can even speak that native tongue, that even have their names? We're completely subjugated to another people. And people like, Trump this. Trump ain't no worse than any other presidents, black and white. I'm talking Obama, Democrats, Republicans, the founding fathers that owned slaves, raped, robbed, and murdered us too. It's like, man, listen, the devil's the devil regardless of place or time. Institutionalized racism is real. You know what I mean? So, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So I can't take the position and be like, we should vote for Democrats. And I can't take the position like, we should vote for the Republicans. And I can't even take the position like, oh, the white man policy is just corrupt. We shouldn't vote at all. I mean, I'm like, you got to use your common sense. Because the devil's tricknology is just all over the place. He got you if you're a Democrat. He got you if you're a Republican. He got you if you're independent. He got you if you vote. He got you if you don't vote. He can take away your vote. He can cheat. He can steal. He can bring the electoral college. It's just no limit. He just make up the rules as he go along, because at the end of the day, he's trying to promote and keep and maintain white world supremacy. This is what we call the rule of the devil. And this is why our lessons teach us you cannot reform the devil. Wake up, family. The struggle continues. And remember, only the messenger's message can guide us through this age of mess. Peace. The struggle continues.